Da-na-na-na-na.
Frontwoods Farmer presents
How to build a lean-to.
everything should be under a roof. So right now we got a few stalls in here, and that's for when we get a couple hogs a year. I raise Berkshire, Yorkshire, Hamp crosses. We've had this last year about 40 turkey. Right now we have about 30 chickens. We have Barred Rock, Golden Comets, Rhode Island Reds, White Leghorns. We got all kind of different varieties. My chickens, I just like to get eggs. I know a little bit about the varieties of them, but you know, we have them for the family, to feed the family. So right now what we have in the stalls is we have the blue heeler, and we have a couple goats. Actually, it's been about 4 weeks. We just had a baby kid goat. As you can see, maybe we'll do something on that. Where you at, hon? So there's Mama. I think the baby's behind her. You can see behind her there. And I try to keep their stalls. I try to keep the stall pretty clean. So what I'm going to do, my plans is to build off my 24-foot wide building what's called a lean-to. And all a lean-to is just a roof off of an existing structure. It leans off of it, if that makes sense. So there's a few different ways to do this. Your standard trusses are 412 pitch. That means, let me try to remember, for every 12 inches, there's 4 inches of rise. So picture this 12 inches going up 4 inches. That's your standard pitch of most homes. You either have a 412 or a 612. The higher the 12 ratio over a 24-foot truss, it's going to be steeper. So that's a 24-foot truss up there, 12-4 pitch. So there's a few different ways to do it. I've built so many things where I started getting a feel for what my pitch is going to be. So when you're doing a lean-to, you're not really doing a 12-4, but everybody's going to tell you, oh, what are you doing at the standard 12-4 pitch? Even if you have like something that's a 30-foot truss, which wouldn't be 12-4, because 12 is how long the truss is. A standard 24-foot truss, half of that's 12 to 4. So that increases with length. With this, that's the degree of slope that they're referring to. So to get roughly a 12-4 pitch, if that's what you like and that's what you need for snow load, for rain, whatever, that's what we're going to shoot for, is around a 12-4. I like to make them actually a little bit less steep because I really brace up the centers. The first thing we did when we started is we went off the side of our building where our lean-to is going to come from. So we go off the existing structure, remember, and it's going to lean off the side. So if our existing structure, this is our wall here, and then we're going to go down for our lean-to. So let me actually turn the camera. Here's our barn. Our barn faces this way. We're building a lean-to off the back of the barn. The first thing that I did is I pounded a nail on the side of the barn. What this is going to do is show me where the wall is going to be. See the string line right here? So this is our new wall going down. So that way it's a straight line. We're going to come off when we build the roof with either 2x4s or 2x6s off of a post. So if our existing post is right here, what we need to do is we need runners, which are just 2x4s, are 1.5 inches out to 1 inch barn siding. It's 1.5 inches by 3.5 inches. So we're going to fur that out 1.5 inches and 1 more inch for the barn siding. So that's 1.5 and 1, that's 2.5 inches below freezing here. So when I drill the holes with the post hole auger, I try to do it 36 inches or better. Now what I did with the first structure, the barn itself, is I went down 40 inches and I put 4 inches of concrete overnight to set up so the post has something to sit on. So the hole, if we dug, should be 36 inches deep. And is it? Yes. All right. So the hole's 36 inches. We're using 6x6 inch posts. Take a look. 12-foot post. So we're gonna have 11, 10, 9 foot sticking out. So we'll have about a 9-foot roof. We'll go off the existing 14-foot roof. So we'll go from like 9 till, I don't know, we'll see. All right, like I was mentioning earlier with the space from the post, I don't think I explained it right. So you got 1.5 inches for your runner. That's called like a furring strip. Basically, you need something to nail your bourne siding to. You go off that 1.5 inches for the width, and you go another inch for your actual bourne siding width from the post. Because what we're doing right now is we're setting posts for the lean-to. From the bourne for the wall, I run that string line to my hole. And then that way I know where to set my post. Because if you look at the string line down here, this is the outside of the wall, finished wall where the bourne siding's at. We got to go in first 1.5 inches, remember, for our runner, then another inch for bourne siding. And that's where you want that post edge to be. Anything's wrong because I rushed around and I didn't think first. You know, I'm like, just drill a post, get it in, blah, blah, blah. You don't want nothing out of square, because what ends up happening is once anything's out of square is you chase it the whole way down your building. So if something's like a 1/4 inch off here, you're just going to keep going way down. And next thing you know, your roof's going to be off. It's going to look crooked. It's going to look terrible. We're going to do it right the first way. So we got our hole down 36 inches. We got our string line set up. We know we got to push in our post 1.5 inches for the 2x4 and another inch, which is 2.5 inches. The 1 inch is for the bourne siding. And now we can start setting the post. So when we set this post, what we're going to end up doing is we're going to put that post there in that hole. Okay? Right there. We're going to lift it up, drop it in, set concrete around it, let it dry overnight, and then we could start worrying about what's the next step. What I do is I use Saccrete, some rocks and things laying around the farm to throw in the hole, and then that way the post don't move. And if it does move 1/2 inch or 1/4 inch, I really don't care if it's at a little bit out of level. I know a 6x6 for what I'm using, it's way overkill for snow. Snow's not going to buckle a 6x6. So we're going to set the post, and then we're going to let it dry like that, and they're not going to move. I did the whole bourne like that, and the bourne straight as an arrow. I apologize if I'm new at this, but we're going to do this. We're going to do this all step by step. So, and then hopefully at the end you'll learn something. All right. Start down here. I'm going to lift this post up. Yes. Set it on your shoulder. Go easy. Get it put in a hole like this. All right, again, this is where our string line comes in handy. Remember, we got to be level with our post, up and down. We got to be what's called plumb. We can't have this thing twisted. It's got to be flush with our other wall. What we're going to do is first go off of our string line with our tape measure. What was it again? I think it's 2.5 inches. 2.5 inches roughly. So we're going to do it rough right now. Just kind of see where we're at, see if we need to shave the sides of the hole down. Okay, so that's about level, and we're a little out more than 2.5. So try to get it over a little. All right, so the problem we're running into right now is that our hole's crooked. So what we need to do is we need to cut down with the post hole diggers. These are post hole diggers. We need to cut the bottom of that hole to kick the bottom of that post over so our post is nice and plumb. What I'm doing is I'm measuring off the 2.5 to our post, and we're trying to level everything before we set our cement. All right, so what I was doing over there, you gotta watch on these posts, because when you're sliding up and down, you should really be wearing gloves. I got a splinter in my hand, so I had to dig it out with my knife. Now if that's all better, we could take that post out and retry to level that. Take it out just the same way we brought it in, just a little at a time, like that. Okay. And set it down like this. Alright. Take our post hole diggers. Just keep digging out this side. What I learned is when you're using these post hole diggers and you're 3 feet deep, it's a lot easier to be kneeling than all this pressure on your back. Because we still got all these posts to do. You don't need to have a sore back while you're doing all those. So kneel down, try it. It's a little easier, especially if you have a bad back. Take your time. Just keep shaving the side of this hole. Allow yourself more room than you need. Because you want the concrete around that post too. See, just like it. Shaving it off. Alright, now that we shaved the side off, I think a couple inches, which we should be good, because we were only about an inch or two out. We need to take that dirt and get it back out because we need our 36 inches so we're below our frost line. The reason why you want below your frost line is because if we only put this down a foot, 2 feet, once we get the roof on, we ain't got to worry about the post shifting. But if the ground freezes, when something freezes, it expands. It'll push your post up, buckle your roof. That's why a lot of them old barns, you see them buckling like that. Now some were built right and it's just a test of time, but some weren't. And it's like the same thing in my situation. I got a lot more equipment than I have roof. So I need to start building up some things, but you know, you got to stay within your local code and you got to do it right. Certain parts of my property are zoned agricultural. So there's different zoning laws. If you're residential, what zone, commercial, it's all different. Also affects your taxes. Now, if I haven't posted or you didn't see the intro video yet, we're gonna learn from each other. So if you guys got a quicker or better way to do this, post it in the comments. Don't put nothing rude. I'm learning just like you are. That's why we're both watching each other. So, you know, when somebody's gonna say, well, you need to fasten that post so it don't move off. Some things I know I should do that, but this ain't that critical. We're not building a museum. We just want something that's gonna cover the Buick for now. And we just built a welding table too that I'll show you guys. I'm gonna stick that in here, probably a heater to have some heat for the winter, because a wood burner and a wood barn, it's not good. We got an oil heater this year. That way our animals are nice and warm and we don't have to use dangerous things and heat lamps and worry about waking up and throwing a log in there. So what we're gonna do, have a nice little heater we could just turn on at night, you know, if it gets too cold for the animals. I like my animals, believe it or not, living a little better than myself. All right, so we're still down 36 inch. I think frost actually around here is only 28, 32 in that area, so we're more than good. So let's get this post back in. We're about where we should be. We're a little off level, which I don't know if that's our post, but we're not much off level. All right, we got everything kind of set in plumb. we got the bottom to where it needs to be. Once I go this out 2.5 inches, we're gonna be perfectly plumb. So we got the Sacrete. This back end is like this wide. We really had to shave this post to get it furred out to where we needed it with the wall. So what we're gonna end up doing is taking a shovel out, probably throwing some debris, like number 3 limestone in there, just for a filler, so we don't put in like 20 bags of cement when we only should be putting in 3 or 4. Put the first bag in dry. Some guys put them in dry, some guys put them in wet. Just gonna throw one bag in dry to hold the post where I need it. And I'll put the rest in probably wet. Run 2 bags dry. It's always easy to find a cam and tape measure. Perfect, 14 foot. And a half. Check our level. They're perfect. Make sure the post is straight with the string line, so the post is sitting straight. We're about perfect. Check it with the existing structure. It's pretty good. Like I said, when you're doing this by yourself, it's not super easy. It's always good to have a short-handed spade shovel when you're doing this. Cut the back like that. Up, bump it out. Again, a couple of posts. Clear this up. Bump it in. These are all things you want to think about before you're lean-to when you're building your barn. I don't have no water out here yet. I got my water line laid, but it's not connected. And I'm on a well service, so you can't use too much. What I do have is a couple gutters on my I have one lean-to already on the west side of the barn. We're gonna use that gutter. We got a nice 55-gallon rain barrel. We could use our own water that we're collecting to mix our cement. The right way to mix the cement is put your leg between it and keep mixing. Anytime you're on a hill, things work against you. It's like them guys down in West Virginia. I don't know how they farm. My hats are off to them. When everything's on a hill, it's 4 or 5 times harder. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. Think about that when you're buying property too. If you look here, this is the kind of consistency you want this concrete. Not too wet, not too dry. Because with concrete, the moisture will suck right in it. That's why some people say you can put them bags in dry. because you could dump them in dry like that, and over the course of a few days or whatever it may be, the moisture is going to suck right in that concrete. You leave a bag of cement in your barn too long, it gets hard, and that's why the moisture, it draws it in. Now we're just going to fill this hole up. Yes. Try not to move the post too much, like we're doing. See? See why you don't need anything to brace it up? Down the post. Again, we're not pouring a finish throughout the floor, pouring a cement post for a bottom. All we're doing. Don't have to be perfect. Always tap it, make sure you get the air out of there. That. Cement out. That's it. Leave it a little above grade. Get another bag. I like to do my floor first, but for financial reasons right now, I'm gonna do my floor last. I know that I got the water running away from my barn right now. It's not level, it's unlevel. So this might not be my finished grade, but I don't know how long that I'm gonna have to stare and look at this post. So what I'm gonna do is go get like a little trowel and just kind of curve everything away from the post so the water goes away and it doesn't look too bad. Don't have to be perfect, so you don't need a float, a steel trowel, wood trowel. I just picked up anything. Steel trowel, always wet your trowels first, clean them off when you're done. Kind of move the concrete back and forth. Get nice and wet. Nice and wet. We could leave it like that, but why not just fancy it up a little? Go back and forth. Back and forth. Up, down, back, forth. Don't have to be perfect. Like I said, we might have to look at this for a year. So, make it nice for you. And you always want the water to run away from the post. You want the water to run away from the barn. Water is your worst enemy in this stuff. Because when wintertime comes, it swells, it pushes things around. Back from
And I want a bracelet. I got a bracelet. What are you doing?
I'm filming myself. I'm trying to put some videos on YouTube.
So cool.
So.
Hi, we're his daughters.
So you could see. You want to set your stake a little bit in past the post so that the string line, when we raise it up on the other side, hits against the post. So, show you what I mean. That's why you want your stake past your post. When you're doing the outside wall, you want to put your stake over there behind this post a little bit further in. That way your string line touches your post. See what I'm saying? Then you go off that post for the rest of your wall down that way. So we hit a piece of fill dirt, because some of this is fill, and there's a big block in there, and it kind of threw the auger sideways. So what we're going to do, we're going to clear out some of this rock this way. We're going to get the digging bar and the post augers, and we're just going to do like we did over there. We're going to shave the hole out a little bit.
It's actually a rock probably, or a piece of cement probably, someone probably put in.
Your eyes, baby.
I'm watching. See, it's probably a piece of cement because cement's super, like, harder than rock. Can barely break. But if you used a hammer and chopped it, it would break, so. But that kind probably. But as you can see, he used a line to make it go straight in a line. So he's trying to dig out this so that way the hole would be even. That's,
look how pretty that rock is.
That's not a rock. That's not a piece of cement.
Yeah, we thought it was cement,
That's
but it's
a rock.
not.
It's actually not cement. It turns out to be a beautiful rock.
Yep.
As you can see, he's working hard using a dig bar. Digging bar. Sorry.
All right.
I don't know any of this stuff barely because I'm his daughter. Well, I know some things. It's just not all of them. So, and now he's gonna use this thing to get post hole diggers to get all this dirt out of this giant hole right here.
Welcome back to the channel. We lit our post set overnight. As you can see, we got the concrete in. We fell a little short. Some of these posts have only so much height in concrete, and then we backfilled with dirt and we tamped it all in. Now we're going to use our Carpenter Pencil. I'm going to show you a few cool things about that. These are like a 1/4 inch wide. I think they're about a 1/2 inch tall. And that way, if you need to gauge things quick without using a tape measure, there's a lot of different usage for these Carpenter's pencils. Most of them are about 7-8 inches long. Let's see what else we have. Utility knife to sharpen it. And we have a line level. I'm going to show you what we're going to do next to figure out where we're going to have our finished floor and everything else. So remember, we're going off original structure here, the barn. We have concrete poured in the barn. We want to know around our post where our finished floor is. The reason for that is that way you know the height of the post, where to put your runners, where your roof's going to be, and all that. So we put the post in first, Then we're gonna run a string from the edge of the barn where the finished floor is all around all these posts. And then we're gonna mark it. As you can see, we nailed the nail right where our finished floor is, concrete in the barn. And like I said, we're gonna string a string line. We're gonna mark on each individual post where finished floor is. And that way we know where our floor is gonna be, and then how our height is gonna be. And we're probably gonna go from about 12 foot on the barn down to an 8 foot tall lean-to. So that's where our height is gonna be, about 8 to 12. First thing we're gonna do is we're gonna sharpen our pencil. How I like to do that, you go by flat ends, sides, and then we just start going and shaving off each corner. You always want to cut away from you. You don't want to cut yourself. Sides, corners, and just keep going so on, the same way you started. Sides, more sides, corners, one more side, and it looks like we got it. Next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna put our line level on so we could see where level is. Now, from finished floor, we're probably gonna go down a little bit. That way all the water keeps running away from the building, because you never know if you spill anything. When we're putting in our concrete, we're gonna go down. Now, we're gonna bring this up with gravel because it's cheaper right now. We're gonna save up, and then we're gonna dig this back out 4 inches and have 4 inch of concrete. I have probably about 6 inches of 3s and 2A crushed limestone underneath for a base. So, and that's been settling and getting tamped in for the last couple years. So we're gonna put our line level up here like this, and we're gonna figure out roughly where level's at, and then we'll adjust. Now at this point here, we found close enough to level. If you can see that, let me try to zoom in a little bit. It's pretty close to level. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna get a speed square. We're gonna mark this finished floor. Back at you guys on day 2. Here we go as our speed square. I was thinking about doing a video on all different uses of these, but you know what? I was looking on YouTube and I couldn't do better than some of those guys. They tell you every aspect. These are a super useful tool. I like the gray aluminum ones. I got a few of those I couldn't find. I got my plastic one from inside the house. The plastic ones are nice too because they don't damage, scratch up walls for inside. For exterior, I like using the aluminum ones, but they're a little too rough sometimes on interior. So if you're wondering what's behind me too, we're gonna build some motorcycles here, and that is a 1976 Ironhead motor. We might do a build video on that as well. I'm going to show you a couple of useful tools. I was telling you guys earlier about how the speed squares, you can use them to figure out what your 412 or 612, whatever you want your pitches on your roofs to be. We're not going to do that because, like I said, I know of eyeing up where it needs to be. I've been doing this for a long time, and also we're using what materials we have. I don't have the luxury all the time of going and just buying anything I want. I don't have endless pockets. What I normally do is I save up, I buy a little lumber at a time, and then I go from there. But if you did want to use this speed square to find your pitch of your roof, see that little diamond on there? It's right below my finger. So say if we wanted to build a roof off of my workbench and we want about 412. This is how these are useful. I think if you go up to that diamond, that's about your standard pitch from off here, 412 pitch. Now again, there's guys that are a million times better with these than I am, but there's a lot of different things you can do. So say if you want to mark up here about, a 1/4 inch above, 3/4 inches above, right here where all these lines are, you could set a pencil in there, raise it up, and draw a straight line down whatever you're building. But when you're explaining it, I guess it don't sound the same. If we wanted to cut off 2 inches here, all you're gonna do is put your pencil And one of these grooves where the 2-inch mark is, it's going to be a little crooked. I'm trying to do this with one hand. So, I didn't do bad. All right, so you see what it did? Is it drew this line 2 inches from this. So these are a useful little tool. Okay, again, we found level. Fancy, come on, honey. Maybe we'll do a video on Fancy later. Come on, you gotta share the spotlight. All right, so we got that level. We went off the barn where our concrete is. We're doing our lean-to or an addition on our barn, and we're marking our post for finished floor. So we're gonna put our T-square up, and this is gonna square up our line. See where the string lines square with that? We're gonna do is we're gonna string up our line. Okay, so we're gonna mark this. All right, so what we did is we marked our finished floor lines, took our string line off so we could use our T-square. I marked that finished floor for you guys. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna run our string line across this way to the next finished floor marking that way. You wanna do your ends first because that's where your concrete's coming from. That's how you're gonna know. See, the concrete is gonna be behind this tire in the barn, out the finished floor, and then you're gonna join these two marks up. And then that way, all our posts are marked where our finished floor is. Our next step is we're gonna go up there on the ladder, figure out where we gotta be below our trusses, and we're gonna put where our roof's gonna rest. We're gonna probably use 2x8s, 2x10s, 2x12s. We're gonna see what we have left over. And then we're gonna bolt those to the 6x6s that are in the barn. That way you have everything tied together.